Many family members and friends of Israeli hostages still being held by Hamas have had enough. They haven't seen their loved ones since October 7, when Hamas launched its devastating attack on Israel. And the heartbreak many families are suffering is not going away. Hamas terrorists are still holding more than 130 people hostage. Now relatives are protesting. On Thursday, a group gathered at a border crossing in a bid to block aid from entering the territory and to ramp up pressure on the Netanyahu government to bring the hostages home. Demonstrators held up signs and photographs of their loved ones who were captured. The Hostages and Missing Persons Families Forum said the aim of the protest was to stop aid to Hamas until all hostages return.
Humanitarian trucks come inside to Gaza Strip and only for one side, only for the Palestinians. There is no humanitarian steps for our hostages over there. There is no Red Cross visiting. There is no food. There is no sign of life. We don't know who is alive there or who is dead.
Recently, we've seen relatives of Israeli hostages take more aggressive steps to demand the release of their loved ones by storming into the Israeli parliament, taking over highways and staging protests outside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's homes. Thousands rallied in Tel Aviv, demanding better action from the Israeli government. But there are no signs that this will happen quickly. There are reports today indicating that Hamas has toughened its stance in hostage negotiations.
To really do negotiations, to really achieve something, you always got to put yourself into the position of your rival or your enemy and see what is it that they really want to achieve. What is in their interest? Well, if you put yourself into Sinwar's interest, he is hearing day and night that the Israeli military wants to kill him, kill the leadership, wipe out Hamas. That's not exactly a Sinwar interest. He wants to have some sort of guarantee that he will survive the day after, that Hamas will have a role the day after. What leverage does he have? It's the hostages. He watches Israeli TV like we watch Israeli TV, and he's seeing this country is going crazy and going nuts about this and in deep trauma about the whole hostage issue. And so he sees that the hostage issue is number one here. This is what's the most important thing for Israelis. So why should he, from his point of view, he's a pretty barbaric and nasty fellow from his point of view, why should he give up the hostages for anything less than saving his own skin and saving Hamas's skin? Otherwise, he knows 3 months after he gives up the hostages, he has no leverage and they're going to come for his neck.
Is there not a middle ground? Give back some of the hostages? I'm trying to get into his head
here. That is what Israel's trying to do. They're trying to say, look, they're trying, on the one hand, put a tremendous amount of military pressure on his neck right now, and he, in the hope that he's suffocating and that he doesn't have breathing room. That's what they're trying to do. Whether they're succeeding or not, we don't know. But if they're getting to that point, then when you don't have air, you really get desperate, and then hopefully he'll agree to an interim deal. At least I can buy a few months of quiet and figure out what I'm going to do and release some of the hostages. But apparently Israel is not putting that kind of pressure on Sinwar yet, because if they were, he'd be talking about that.
Last week, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reiterated Australia's call for all hostages in Gaza to be released immediately.
Penny Wong is visiting Israel. She's speaking to the family and friends of the hostages, both those people who have been released, but also the families who quite rightly want people released. Australia reiterates our call for every single hostage to be released unconditionally and immediately. That is our position. It's a clear and unequivocal position that we have had from day one.
Mr. Prime Minister, when asked on Monday about your statement, said we've set the help with operational support at the headquarters in Gaza. Do you acknowledge the support for the operation hasn't even arrived yet? Can you confirm the support we are providing won't be?
No, because that's just not true. We do have people there, and the release from the United States made that very clear. The joint release that we were involved and participated, and the United States has expressed and the UK have expressed their thanks to the countries that were engaged in the operation against the Houthis. The Defence Minister said there'd be additional personnel there this month. It's now the 16th of January. The personnel will be there this month as we promised.